Could the Browns trade for the former first-round pick Garrett Wilson from Ohio State, who 3 years so far with the Jets, I'd say 3 successful statistical seasons, all 3,000-plus yards. So why would the Jets trade him away? Well, it's because it's the Jets. They are the most dysfunctional organization, and there is some chatter out there that it might be him or me. The him being Aaron Rodgers and the me being Garrett Wilson. So here's what Ian Rapoport recently put out there. There have been questions regarding whether Rodgers and Wilson can find common ground since they had a blow-up during training camp. While Wilson will not publicly say it, those who know him well believe he's been frustrated at the lack of looks from Rodgers while wondering what else he can do to fix the relationship. The Browns may not seem like an obvious destination as a 3-win team to trade for Garrett Wilson, but this screams Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry, we know there is a track history of if he has a little bit of an affinity towards a player, he will not quit. He was persistent in his pursuit of Jerry Jeudy and eventually got him. And if I go back to the 2022 draft, before the Browns traded all their picks away from Deshaun Watson, I remember one name kept coming up over and over and over again. Garrett Wilson. And maybe after all, Barry can get the guy he wanted before he dealt his picks for Watson. Wilson threw 3 seasons with the Jets, all over 1,000 yards, despite the turbulent quarterback play of Aaron Rodgers missing all of 2023. Aaron Rodgers stinking it up for pretty much all of 2024. And despite that, the former Buckeye has 14 career touchdowns and all seasons over 1,000 yards. And like I said, if there is a GM out there who is at least going to inquire about a wide receiver's availability, it is Andrew Berry. We have to acknowledge that. He has a track record of this. Traded for Jerry Jeudy. Traded for Elijah Moore. Traded for Amari Cooper. He has built this entire wide receiver room essentially through trades. So what's one more? There's a lot to like about Garrett Wilson. I think he is a very good player. I'm a fan of his work. I think he is a wide receiver 1 type guy. And I think Andrew Berry might see that in him as well. So let me throw out a pretty borderline ridiculous trade. Browns get Garrett Wilson, and they get the Jets' first-round pick. And the Jets get the Browns' first-rounder. This might not look like a very fair trade for the Jets, but hear me out for a moment. I'm going to pull up Tankathon in real time. Browns going into Week 18 of the 3rd overall pick. Jets have the 7th overall pick. If the Jets were to beat the Dolphins at home to close out the year, they'd finish with 5 wins. They'd fall to around 10th or 11th. If the Titans or Patriots beat teams who are likely resting their starters because those teams have nothing to play for, and the Browns lose to the Ravens, who will not be resting starters, Cleveland will move up to 1 or maybe even 2. If the Browns are in a spot where they could take a quarterback like Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward, and the Jets are nowhere near that spot, picking maybe 10, would it be out of the realm of possibility for the Browns to go, hey, we'll essentially trade you, Shedeur Sanders, for Garrett Wilson. You get a young franchise quarterback in your eyes, and we get an up-and-coming wide receiver. Maybe not everyone agrees that's a good deal because one's a known commodity, Garrett Wilson, and he's really good. One's an unknown, but at a more important position, a quarterback. But here's the beauty of this trade. You don't need everyone to think it's a good deal. You just need really like 2 or 3 people. Woody Johnson and his sons, Brick and Jack, who are running the team based off Madden ratings. Don't you think Brick and Jack, after playing a game of NCAA 25 and chugging Mountain Dew and eating Cheetos, are going to call their dad and go, can we get the Shedeur guy? He's really fun to play with. I'd love for him to be on the Jets Madden team. We're talking about the Jets here. Listen, the Browns don't have a lot to stand on, but the good news is they are less dysfunctional than the New York Jets, who have the longest playoff drought in all of North American pro sports. It's a little bit of a reach to go first-round pick swap. But let me ask you this. Would you rather have the first, second pick and take Shedeur, take Cam? Maybe they work out. I don't think it would in Cleveland. Or you fall back 10 spots, you get Garrett Wilson, and you use that 10th overall pick on like Kelvin Banks, left tackle out of Texas, and you add some youth to your offensive line. You pair Jerry Jeudy with Garrett Wilson, and yes, you don't have the franchise quarterback of the future probably, unless Deshaun Watson pulls a rabbit out of the hat. But whoever does take over that position in 2026 is going to step into a spot with Jerry Jeudy, Garrett Wilson under contract, a stud cornerstone left tackle. That's something I think Myles Garrett could work with and go, doesn't sound like a rebuild to me. Sounds like we're just getting our ducks in a row here and positioning ourselves for success in the future. Only thing we need to do, we just need this to get to Woody Johnson's kids and sell it off as a good idea because they're the ones running the show. So we're just going to clip this next part here. This is complete propaganda for the Jets. But we're going to pass it off as really good move. 3, 2, 1, start. I don't think it's a good move for the Browns, but it's a great idea for the Jets. So if anyone in New York is thinking about it, I wouldn't if I were the Browns because the Jets would fleece Cleveland in this trade. But maybe the Browns could muster up something with the late first. Jets probably win a few soupies with Shedeur, Cam Ward, but oh well. All right, clip that. Send it to them. Now we got Garrett Wilson. So let me know. Would you trade for Garrett Wilson? I'm doing yes. Absolutely. I think he's great. I thought he was awesome in Columbus. Remember how fun it was to watch him and Chris Olave and JSN? I thought Wilson was the best of the three. And he's been stuck in New York with a horrible, supporting cast and crew. Get him to Cleveland. Young quarterback Arch Manning in 2026. And we are cooking with gas, baby. I'll also add, he was one of my top draft targets. I'm kind of having deja vu, and if you've been a subscriber to this channel for a long time, remember when, pre-Watson, it was hey, Baker and Garrett Wilson, they're both from Austin, Texas, and Garrett Wilson was talking about how fun it would be to catch balls from Baker. And unfortunately, that, went up in smoke once they traded their first round pick for Deshaun Watson, but maybe after all, you can get the guy you were circling the entire time. All right, before we get on to the rest of today's video, quick shout out to our friends over at Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. You see, Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I love about Game Time is they're all in pricing option. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Once again, all that information, because I love you all, in the comments and description of today's video. So let's talk about, do the Browns actually need Garrett Wilson? Kind of put jokes aside for a moment here. Is this something the Browns should pursue? I think so. If it's truly available, I'm looking at the Browns wide receiver room in the future here. You've got Elijah Moore, who's an upcoming free agent. Cedric Tillman on Tuesday, today, the 31st, I filmed this during our live show, placed on injured reserve. And he misses the last 6 weeks of the season with a concussion. So hopefully he'll be, good as new when the season rolls around. But that's definitely concerning. But all I've got really to hold on to for the future is a guarantee in Jerry Jeudy and then a few really good weeks from Cedric Tillman. I think it's worth exploring adding another player. And we know the Browns love to make sure that they can maximize their spending ability with all these contract restructures. If you're going to open up this cap space to make sure you can be a buyer, well, here's a great opportunity. Go get Garrett Wilson, and you'll have the cap space to give him a contract extension if you want to, as soon as you get him, like you did Jerry Jeudy, because there's a chance that if you let him play out the rest of his rookie deal, he might be a guy worth $28, $29, $30 million a season, like some of the highest paid receivers in football. Jerry Jeudy has been terrific this year. He's number 5 in receiving yards. And so the Browns made a big gamble on extending him before he played a snap, and that has paid off greatly for the Browns. And this would be another gamble. It may not go like I projected it, which is a little bit of a, wishful kind of trade of just swapping first rounders, and the Jets get to move up, and they give up Garrett Wilson for basically, Shador or Cam Ward, and maybe they'd want a little bit more. But my dream is acquire Garrett Wilson, and then with the Jets pick, get Abdul Carter. May not be there when you're on the clock, but that's why this is a dream. So it might be a little bit of a fever dream, but still a dream. And then you've got your second and 2 third-round draft picks. Attack the trenches with those picks. Go offensive line, find a new left tackle, kind of bring on a replacement for either Teller or Conklin. You got DeJuan Jones coming back. Maybe go center. Ethan Posic's deal will be coming up shortly. And get a new running back because you definitely need one. And I think I could sell some butts and seats on, hey, we don't have, the quarterback position checked off. And that's a big box you need to check. But we're going to bring back Jacoby Brissett. Everyone loved him. We're going to bring back Jameis maybe. Probably not, but maybe. And we're going to build a great roster around those guys. And then 2026, that's when we are going to go out and find our franchise quarterback. All right, before we get on out of here, shout out your city for me down below in the chat. I always love seeing where everyone is tuning in from, so let me know where you are watching from. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us here on another edition of the Cleveland Browns Report.